brush, but okay. The next part's my favorite part to do, and that's the eyes. I use a eyeshadow primer. Younique does have an eyeshadow primer, and it just takes a tiny amount. And just place that on the eyelids. And what this does is helps give you a blank, smooth canvas. It helps your eyeshadow stick to your eyelid, and helps it last longer. Again, just a tiny amount, and rub that onto your eyelids. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to use is the Moodstruck Addiction Palette 1. And it basically looks like this. So just a lot of your neutrals, everyday wear, things like that. Trying not to knock stuff off over here. I don't have a very big counter. So I will show you the brushes that I use for my eye makeup. Okay, so I use this one. It's just kind of a stiff dome brush. I use that for the outer corner. I use this one, it's just a little bit bigger fluffy brush. That's what I use to blend into my crease, blend out any lines, things like that. I use this one for my eyeshadow, both underneath my eyebrow and on my eyelid, as well as the corner of my eye. And this is actually a concealer brush. And what I do with that is after I put on my eyeliner, I will use some eyeshadow and smudge that out, just because I don't like a harsh eyeliner line. So we'll get started with that. I'm going to use Forthright, which is, so, whoops, sorry guys. Which is this one right here, on the outer corner. And these eyeshadows are incredibly pigmented. Just barely touched it. And you'll see kind of how far that goes. And I just basically make an outer V, backwards C, V, however you want to think about it. Like that. And I'll show you again just how much I used. So literally just that much. And I was not pressing hard either. And again, make that C, V, however you want to think about it. Okay, whoops. You should not get eyeshadow everywhere. That's generally a bad idea. Okay. And you can kind of tell, looks a little bit crazy right now, but that's just the way it is. I will fix it. So then what I do is I get my fluffy blender brush and I go in with one. I would probably, most likely I'll either do Chipper or Zealous. Chipper is here and Zealous is here. So you can't really pick it up in the camera, but one is a shimmer and one is a matte. You want to mix your mattes and shimmers. You don't want to do all matte because then it looks flat. You don't want to do all shimmer because then you look like a disco ball. If looking like a disco ball is your thing, hey, have at it. I'm going to use the matte chipper. And just a little, I don't know if you can really see that. And just start blending out into the crease. You can kind of see that. Do the same on the other eye. And I just use a windshield wiper motion. That's all. Nothing fancy. And this does two things. Number one, you get the color that you picked up from the palette in your crease, but you also kind of smooth out and blend in that outer corner color. And that's kind of what you're left with. You can tell. Okay. So then what I do is I typically wipe that same blender brush out, and I grab one that is close to my skin color. So for me in this palette it is Elated, which is just kind of a matte beige color. And then just go just above the crease, not really under the eyebrow, but just above the crease, and kind of blend out any lines that you have. And of course, sometimes if you're like me and you blend a little too much, you can always go back in with that brush that you used in this outer corner and touch up a little bit. Sometimes it's a back and forth until you get it right. It happens. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under my eyebrow. And I like to use a shimmer for that, because I will go under just under the arch of the eyebrow, not completely, but just under the arch of the eyebrow, and then in the corner of the eye. With a shimmery, I typically use pretty much a white or a cream color, depending on your skin tone, depends on what color you use. Obviously, if you're darker, you don't want to use too light, or else it makes you look kind of ashy and doesn't look right. So in this palette, I'm going to use Sincere. Whoopsie. Sorry guys, I keep forgetting that closes. I'm going to use Sincere. And just put a little bit on the brush. Just kind of dot it underneath your eyelid. Eyelid, Lord. Eyebrow. Whatever that thing is. Okay. And then get a little bit and go right in the corner of the eye. What this does is helps light reflect. It makes you look, awake. You don't look tired. It distracts from bags under your eyes. Granted, concealer helps that a lot, but this is just kind of a little added touch. Okay. So next, what we will do is the lid color, and I'm actually going to use a cream shadow for that. It is the Splurge cream shadow. I don't think you can see that. This one's in Hopeful. It's just a pink color. They do have a brush specifically for these, but I kind of like to use my finger for them. Obviously, if you're sharing makeup, don't do that. I'm not sharing this one, so just get a little bit on your finger. Whoops, I said a little. So about like that. And just gently pat it on your eyelid, right on the center. Whoopsie. And if you mess up, you can always go back and blend it back out. And I actually had enough for both eyes. And it does dry to a powder. So, I don't know if you guys can see, but right in this eyelid, you can see a little bit of pink in my crease. That was not intentional. So just take your blender brush and just go back out in that crease and blend it back out. No biggie. There are not very many mistakes that cannot be fixed with a blender. If you want to, you can go back in with that same crease color just a hair bit and go back into that crease to define it a little bit more. Okay. Alright. So next thing I'm going to do is my eyebrows. I typically don't do my eyebrows that much. But it's not too difficult. I know a lot of people do. This is the eyebrow pencil. It would help if I actually grabbed the eyebrow pencil and not the lip liner. That could have been bad. Dadgummit. There it is. This is the brow liner in medium. I don't know if you can see that there. And pretty much what I do is I just kind of rest my hand on my cheek and then just short little strokes where you might need to touch up and fill in. And then it has this little handy brush on the end of it. And I just kind of go back in and kind of brush it out and make it look a little bit more natural. I'm not a fan of the obviously drawn on eyebrows. So I like to go through and kind of brush it out and blend it in with my natural eyebrows there. You can kind of tell a difference there. And then just do the same on the other again, just resting that hand kind of on my jaw cheek area first to be steady. And filling in any spots that need to be. And this one is a self-sharpening pencil. I know that's important to some. And again, just kind of brush that out and distribute it. And there you have eyebrows. That is just a very simplistic, I'm not good at doing the whole no eyebrows to awesome eyebrows thing, so I just kind of touch up what I already have. Okay, next we're gonna do eyeliner. Okay. So I do as thin of a line as I can, pretty much, and then go back with a shadow. This is a black liner. Typically I use a dark brown, but it shouldn't matter too much because I'm going to go back over it with the dark brown eyeshadow. So, and I don't go all the way across. I will only go roughly halfway, a third to halfway. So you can kind of see I didn't go all the way, about halfway. And then you don't have to work super fast at this, but you want to be fairly quick about it. I'm actually going to go in with Zealous on this end. And just put a little bit on the end of your concealer brush. And then smudge it out. But you want to work quick enough that your eyeliner doesn't have a chance to completely dry. And then this is where I kind of wing it out a little bit. Some days turn out better than others. But I used to be a huge Urban Decay snob when it came to eyeliner. Because theirs were the only one that was smooth enough and creamy enough that I didn't feel like I was trying to break my eyelid off to get it to cover. At the same time, I could blend it and it would last forever. But I'm no longer an Urban Decay snob. I'm a Younique snob. Okay, not really a snob, but you get the idea. And then we will do the same with the other eye. And if you find like me that sometimes it smudges underneath a little bit on one eye and then the other, just take what's left on your brush and smudge it onto that side. And ta-da, they match. Okay, so next on